Hello guys, welcome back. So I have another thrift flip video for you guys today. I'm going to start out with this Cherub base. I believe it was a lamp. My husband picked it up at the Goodwill bins. I'm going to start out by giving it a coat of paint. I am adding some texture or some salt wash into my paint to give it some texture. So this base had a little bit of chipping at the bottom, but I painted right over that. Some of it does come off, which is what I wanted. It just gives it a more aged look, which I love. So I'm going to be brushing it on, but doing a little bit of stippling in between here and there just to add a little bit more texture. So really quickly before I move forward, I just wanted to welcome all my new subscribers. Welcome to my channel. I appreciate the support and all the comments I received on my last video. And to all my ones that have been there since day one, I appreciate you just as much. And thank you for following along on this journey, on this YouTube journey. I'm still learning. I think I'm getting better. I hope to bring you guys some upcycles. I still love my Dollar Tree DIYs. But yeah, I just wanted to take a moment and tell you guys thank you and welcome, and thank you for following me along on this journey. So here it is all painted up. You can see the texture that it has. It did have a little bit of bleed through, but I kind of liked the age effect it gave it. So I've had this laying around here for quite some time. But yesterday I went to the bins and I picked up a couple of greenery garden balls. So my plan is to add one to the top of this little base here. So I was just gonna sit it right on top and not really glue it or attach it. But then if it does end up going to my booth, I want it to be on there secure. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of hot glue onto this little foam ball. I'm going to cut the plastic on my greenery ball just to make like a little hole where it can just slide over that foam ball, and then I'll add some floral picks to attach it. So this little ball was also missing a couple greenery pieces. So all I did was move them over, and that is where this little space comes in. I just cut the plastic off there just to make the little hole to put it over my foam. So here are the picks that I'm going to use. It's just some little floral picks that are from Hobby Lobby, I believe. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and then I'm just going to poke it through my greenery ball here and into my foam so it can be secured on top of my base. And that is basically it for this thrift flip. Super easy, so don't pass up those bases from the Goodwill bins. This did have a couple chips, but once I added the texture and everything on there, it's not very noticeable. It gives it a little bit more character. So here is the end result. Let me know what you think. Next up, I picked up these mini frames from the thrift store. My thrift store has a wall with like bags filled with like miniature things, ribbons. It has like random things in it. That's where I found these frames. This is my IOD package that I saved because it has like the miniature pictures of what is included in that book. And I just thought they were perfect to just frame out. So I'm going to go ahead and trace my picture here with the glass of the frame. Then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out and put it into my frame. And that is basically it for this one. If you don't use IOD, you can also frame pictures out of books that are picked up at the thrift store. Next up, I picked up these vintage greeting cards from the Goodwill bins yesterday. I just couldn't leave them. Um, like, look at how pretty this is. I love the detail on them. They can easily be framed up. Today I'm going to use my IOD molds to frame out one of the floral ones. So to make my mold, I'm going to go ahead and use some amazing casting resin. So you're going to basically put equal parts of A and B, mix it up, and then pour it into your molds. As soon as it turns white, that means it is ready. This one turns white pretty quick, about 5-10 minutes, and it is ready to be painted. So I'm going to go ahead and use this card. The florals are so pretty in this, and it fits perfectly into the center of my mold here. So to paint my frame here, I'm going to use this folk art paint in the color gold. I do about 2 coats, letting each coat dry really well in between to get full coverage. Then using this dark wax from Bear, I'm going to go ahead and put it all over my frame just to give it a more aged look, as well as tone down the gold a bit. Then I'll go ahead and use a microfiber towel and just wipe it back. So to attach my picture here, I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue, and then I'm going to attach it to the back of my frame. So to give my card a little bit more stability, I went ahead and cut out a piece of cardboard, and I'm going to glue that right on top of my card just to make sure my picture stays in place. And that is basically it for this one. Super cute to add a little pop of spring into a little vignette. What do you guys think? And last one for this video, I picked this up also at the Goodwill bins. It was originally a clock, but it was broken when I picked it up. So I went ahead and scraped off those stickers and just gave it a coat of white paint. So to cover up the holes where the clock was at, I'm going to go ahead and paint these pieces of wood white, since I am going to decoupage some of that blue floral napkin that I've been using. For the circle, I end up not using that. I end up using something else instead. So as always, I'm going to take off the extra plies on the napkin, and I'm going to go ahead and decoupage it onto my piece of wood here using some Mod Podge. So I add a thin layer of Mod Podge, then I'm going to go ahead and add my napkin right over that. Then using this piece of plastic, I'm going to go ahead and smooth out some of the wrinkles. I will set that aside to dry, and then I'm going to move on to my clock so I can get the circle on top covered. So I'm going to lay down my napkin, and then I'm going to go ahead and push on the edges of the circle just so I can kind of get a little bit of a guideline to where I'm going to cut. I do end up tracing it out with a pencil just to make it easier. So I went ahead and cut my napkin, and then I'm going to add some Mod Podge to the circle here. And then I'm going to add my napkin right on top. Once I got my napkin laid down, I'm going to go ahead with the plastic again and smooth out all the wrinkles. So I debated back and forth if I wanted to attach my wreath and then add this little bird right on top, or just cover up the little hole with the bird. I ended up not doing any of those. I ended up just gluing on a little pearl to the middle where you can still see the circle where the clock was attached. What would you guys have done? Would you have left the bird, or would you have done what I did? Like, I would just kept going back and forth. So I go ahead and add a little bit of glue to my bead here, and I'm going to add it to the center of my clock here, or where the clock used to be, just to cover up that hole. So I went ahead and sanded off the excess napkin on my wood for the bottom. I added some hot glue and then just attached it to the back. So I added some glue to the bottom of my wood, and once it was attached, I also added some glue on the outside just to make sure it was secure. So I do decide to use my bird. I'm going to give it a quick coat of white, and this bird is made out of an IOD mold. I believe it's called Birdsong. So I end up attaching it to the bottom of my clock. Then I go in with some gilding wax from Dixie Belle, and I put some on my bird. I also added to all the detail on my clock. So I do plan on adding my wreath, but I'm going to go ahead and take this outside and seal it before I do so, and then I will go ahead and attach my wreath. And that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys like these thrift flips, and let me know what you think. And if you like what you see, please subscribe and follow for more. I also am going to add some clips of my booth here from over the weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.